Welcome back to the GritFlow YouTube channel. As you can see, we're in the new setup. Absolutely fantastic. It's going to be leveling up the content and the amount of value that I'm going to be able to share with you guys. Today, we are doing the traits of a higher state. We're going to dive deep into the traits of a higher state and actually how to achieve the higher state. So I want to begin today about talking about the all. Okay, so the principle of all is the mind. Okay, that is the law of mentalism. Now, the law of mentalism states that anything that is in your reality, so what goes on in the internal part of your mind, will be shown externally. Okay, so the all is mind. Now, with the all and the law of mentalism, there is emotions that come with the all. Okay, there is a primary emotion that comes with the all. Okay, with being in touch with the divine, and that is, of course, love. It is the highest frequency you can be in. All emotions at the top of the frequency chart stem from love, and all negative emotions stem from fear, and we're about to get into that right now. Okay, so we have love as the predominant emotion of the all. Okay, with the law of opposites being in play here as well, right? You've got the law of polarity. So that states that for as much as something can go this way, it can also go this way. It's the law of opposites, okay? So if you've got hot, you've got cold. If you've got fear, you've got courage, yeah? So there's love, there has to be an opposite feeling and emotion to that, okay? So it's fear. So we've got love and fear. Fear is just another version of love. When you are fearful, you are in a place of ego, okay? So the fear is just ego because it's a protection thing, okay? Now, fear is an illusion, okay? Fear is the separation of oneness between us and God, between us and the all, the divine. So this fear here, right, is just separation. Separation from love, the divine. Now, to go back and explain just quickly, we live in the realm of duality, okay? That's what I was meaning by when I was explaining there is love and there's fear. So the law of opposites, duality, the law of polarity. We live in the realm of duality. So this is split into fractions of God, okay? Into fractions of God, and that is where the love and fear comes from. Next up, I'd like to speak about the principle of gender, okay? Comes from a book, The Kybalion. Okay, the Kybalion talks about the Hermetic principles, the 7 different Hermetic principles, and how they are operating the universe and reality. Okay. So with the principle of gender states that everything has a masculine and a feminine. And first of all, if we think about the masculine as like the coder, right? Say the coder of the matrix. And we think of it like the brain. Right? You've got the brain there. Fantastic drawings. So you've got the coder of the matrix for the masculine, and for the feminine, you've got the heart. So the feminine is the emotive, it's like the heart. And this is just genuinely like the matrix. So you've got the coder of the matrix, and then you've got the matrix, okay? Again, another way that we can conceptualize this is the masculine being like the gardener, okay? And the feminine being the fertile soil. So again, just to go back and explain this a little bit, so with the principle of gender, you've got the masculine and feminine. We have the coder of the matrix for the masculine. The masculine energy is like your action, your will, your structure, your logic, just to go and get it, yeah? And then you've got your feminine, which is the feminine, the emotive energy, right? Where you're more emotive, you're more going with the flow. So anything that you do, so again, if you think about this in terms of the thoughts that you're having, right, with this being the coder of the matrix, you can use your conscious will to decide what thoughts come in, and you can decide what thoughts you actually think, okay? And if you can decide what thoughts that you think, this is fertile soil, so it eventually has to be planted, okay? Because if we go and look here for a wee second, right, we've got thoughts, all thoughts that you have. Why did I do a plus sign? Nobody knows. All thoughts that you have lead to an emotion. These emotions drive actions and behaviours, and the actions and behaviours lead to the results in your life. So consciously, we need to change our thinking, because this is the coder of the matrix, okay? So consciously using our will, we need to be having thoughts that align with our vision, align with where we're going and who we want to be and who we are being, okay? Okay, so absolutely everything is linked, right? So here is an attempt at the frequency chart, okay? So up here we have higher traits of consciousness, okay? With enlightenment being at the top, peace, joy, love, of course, all of these emotions derive from love, okay? All the top emotions within the frequency chart. Same with at the bottom, all the emotions derive from fear. So anger, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, okay? And at the bottom, obviously, it's a little bit. Up the top, it's massive, unlimited parts of consciousness. So going too far into the feminine energy, you fall into emotional chaos. Chaos because you're lacking the order. You're lacking the masculine order. That says order over here, guys. Bear with me. So you fall into emotional chaos because you lack the masculine order, right? And that ends up leading to problems with your identity, problems with your self-image, problems with self-love, as you are lacking within the self. You're lacking within the masculine, right? Problems with self, love, identity. So like I was mentioning before, when you have problems with self, love, identity, your ideas and visions will never come in to reality. They will never materialize because there's no structure, there's no action behind them to support them. So when you go too far into the masculine energy, you are disconnecting from the heart. And when you're disconnecting from the heart, you are then going too much into ego. One thing that's very, very important to mention about this, you cannot repress either of these energies, okay, because they are within you. According to the law of mysticism, if you repress either of these energies, the masculine or the feminine, you will be in a hellish state of mind, okay? Because hell isn't an external place, it's an internal place. Heaven and hell are states of consciousness within the mind. So you cannot repress either of these energies. Heaven is the unity of two, whereas hell is where one has overtaken. So hell becomes a separation from these energies. So being in a higher vibration, being in a higher state isn't necessarily, oh, everything's fine, this is all happy and rainbows. It is that, but it's also having greater control over your reality and where you're going and the person that you want to become. So the word gender actually stems from the word beget. Get is to create. And when you create, you are in alignment with the creator. And when you align with this truth, you are fully embodying it. And when you start aligning with the person that's in your desired reality, you start thinking, feeling and acting like him, you are then creating, because you're closing the time gap between you over here and you here. And that is indefinitely when you end up raising your frequency. You raise your mindset, you raise your identity, your self-concept, your state of consciousness. With your identity, like we mentioned earlier on, if you think about the masculine side of this, that is the action that you will take. So these are the actions that you'll take using your will. Simple. Now if we go on to the feminine part of the identity, this is your vibration, the emotive side, how you feel. It's also your vision. Yeah? So for that side, you've got your vibration, how you feel, your emotions, where you're actually wanting to go, the vision. And with your masculine part, you've got the action, you've got the structure behind it, you've got the will, you've got just do it, yeah? Just do it. So it's absolutely perfect because it makes complete sense. The feminine in this type of energy is the vision, where you're going, who exactly you need to be, and then the masculine here is just getting it done, having the structure, having the will to go and actually take the action. It's simple. And if we think about you here and your goal and your vision over here, right? Everything I've spoke about in today's video is on how to raise your vibration, about being in alignment with two of these energies, right? So this is the raising of your vibration, the raising of your frequency. This is the traits of the higher state is up here. Another thing that's super important is it's great to actually know where you're going and all the bells and whistles of what's going to be the stitching in your car. Like I always say, how does that look? Was it baby blue? Give me all the details. It's fantastic knowing all of this and talking about the numbers and what you're going to have. It's also super important though to know who, because it's one of the things my mentors taught me. It's not how, it's who. So it's not how are we going to get to there. Wow, look at this mountain, that's so big. How am I going to do all that? It's who. Okay, so who do you need to be? Who do you need to act like? How do you need to talk? How do you need to conduct yourself? Do you need to move with confidence, with your chest out? Or this how you're moving right now? You really need to figure out who exactly it is that you need to be and where you're going, and then you take both of them and you start acting like that, but down here. Because the only thing between you and your goal and your vision is time, is this time bit where you can raise your frequency. To close this gap of time and nullify it, you need to literally embody. And I say it all the time, I'm saying it again, be before you become. That is how to raise your frequency, and that is how to step into the higher traits and higher state. Okay? If you found today's video useful, in the description you can book a personal one-to-one call with me where I will diagnose how exactly you can put all of this into your life and achieve massive immediate results. It was an absolute pleasure filming this today, genuinely, in the new setup. I'm super grateful. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, it would help me out tenfold. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you next time.